Khalil's request for a preliminary injunction, though, for failing to disclose everything about his past when he filled out paperwork for permanent residency. The government said Khalil, for example, did not disclose that he interned for UNRWA, the UN's relief works agency for Palestinians, some members of which are accused terrorists. The judge is giving Khalil time to add to the record here to explain the failure to disclose.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. President Trump is thinking about putting a limit on the number of foreign students enrolled at Harvard to 15%.
They're taking people from areas of the world that are very radicalized, and we don't want them making trouble in our country.
Meanwhile, Harvard is suing the administration over funding freezes and the elimination of federal grants. President Trump has pardoned reality TV stars Julie and Todd Chrisley, convicted in 2022 of fraud and tax evasion, their daughter, Savannah.
I'm just so grateful that I'm going to leave here with my dad.
The couple were convicted of conspiring to defraud Atlanta area banks of $30 million and tried to hide their earnings from the IRS. There's also word that the president is considering pardoning the men convicted in the failed plot to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. A friend and former stylist for R&B singer Cassie has testified in the sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs that Combs insisted Cassie have a sex marathon after celebrating her birthday and corroborated her story that he frequently beat Cassie. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
To help home, he has come home. A 2 in 10 probability of rain for the rest of tonight with a low at 56. Same for Thursday. I'm Chris Davis. Here's what's trending. The FBI's field office in Indianapolis is now under the direction of a Notre Dame grad. Jarrett Lewis with more.
After spending the last 2 years working as section chief in the lab division at FBI headquarters, Timothy O'Malley is returning to Indiana, where he graduated from Notre Dame. His first assignment in the FBI was in 2001, working as a special agent in Honolulu. He's also made stops in Ohio, South Carolina, and even overseas.
A big factor on why I was selected for this position is just my understanding and my appreciation for partnerships and collaboration across law enforcement entities.
He believes it's essential that the FBI have a role in making communities a safe place to live.
Charges against Muncie EMS Chief Wesley Miller include domestic battery in the presence of a minor under 16 and illegally entering a home. The incident was in Jay County, but Miller has been placed on administrative leave, says the city of Muncie. They want to ensure an impartial investigation. Court documents say Miller came into a house with a gun partially visible, tucked into his waistband, and that he had sent threatening texts before he got there. Indy Metro Police believe 35-year-old Hector Torres Cabrera is responsible for shooting a man in the shoulder during a road rage incident last Thursday on I-465 in Indianapolis. Police have arrested him and say he repeatedly denied being the shooter in an interview. But they say everything adds up to it being him. I'm Chris Davis, on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Your forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. For the rest of tonight, a 20% chance you could see another shower or sprinkle with a low at 56. A 20% chance of rain Thursday with a high at 72. That goes up to 30% for Thursday night. For 93 WIBC, I'm Chris Davis.
Meet Alan, who was diagnosed with sleep apnea.
I was what they call a mouth breather, and I would breathe at night with my mouth open.
And for about 8 years, Alan struggled with a CPAP machine. And then
I saw the Advent commercial, and I thought, well, what do you got to lose? This machine is miserable.
For most people, CPAP machines are miserable. But a simple in-office solution from Advent can be life-changing.
And it really was, to me, it was amazing because I don't think I ever breathed that clear.
This is Dr. Madan Kandula. After having one of Advent's simple in-office procedures, people are amazed at how freely and clearly they can breathe.
I'm happy with the procedure. I'm very glad I did it. I wish I would have done it 20 years ago. I could have avoided that machine I had to have laying next to the bed with the hose wrapped around my head.
Schedule your appointment at AdventKnows.com because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. AdventKnows.com. Most insurance accepted.
Pat Sullivan here with Michaela of Michaelis. If you have water damage, why should you call Michaelis?
Michaelis is a local family-owned Indianapolis company with 39 years experience. On call 24/7, 365. We are IICRC certified and will restore your space to pre-loss condition or better. And we work through the entire insurance process on your behalf to make it easy.
Water, storms, fire, and mold. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIX-INDY.
Thinning hair? This year, grow your hair back like I did. Call 317-522-2995 or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
Tony Kinnett.
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 Host of the Tony Kinnett Cast.
Let's get down to business.
You're listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WYBC.
WCYTV here on the Daily Signal.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is not Tony Kinnett. This is your handy-dandy stand-in for the evening, Ethan Hatcher. We got a lot of fun on the agenda, and I'm joined, of course, by the lovely Allison Lemons on the board.
Are you just going to stand there like a lemon?
But before we get to the show, first we got to get to the quick news roundup.
News on the mark.
Welcome back to the show. Tonight, we're going to discuss a new direction from the FDA that finally aligns with what many Americans knew long ago about the COVID vaccine. It should really only be taken by the old and immunocompromised. After being disappointed by big spending establishment Republicans, Elon Musk has now said he intends to step back from politics and political contributions. Diego Morales continues to his globetrotting escapades, and this time finding himself in Hungary brokering agricultural deals on the fly, begging the question, who pays for these international trips to India, to Hungary, and elsewhere? Also, a free speech victory for a baker in New Hampshire. You'll hear it all and more for this edition of the Tony Kinnett Cast.
News on the mark.
So, yeah, we begin with this new directive from the FDA, which I find very interesting, that basically admits they didn't need to be spread to every American all along. They are now restricting distribution to the old or the immunocompromised. Unless you have a very good reason for taking the COVID vaccine, they do not believe they have the rigorous scientific justification for distributing it on a wide basis. In fact, the director of the FDA's Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, Dr. Vinay Prasad, said, "We do not have a gold standard science to support this for average risk, low risk Americans." Aha! So, but what the conspiracy theorists said the whole time was correct, that it didn't need to be distributed to children. It didn't need to be distributed to the young, to the healthy. We didn't need to shut down the economy. We didn't need to yank kids out of schools and damage their educational foundation. This was all a ruse designed to affect a political outcome. And unfortunately, it was very successful in the 2020 election. Now, of course, we have the response to that in the re-election of Donald Trump. Many Americans did not appreciate being deceived, and yet we continue to find ourselves deceived, producer Allison, because I remember on the Donald Trump campaign trail how he promised to rein in egregious government spending. I remember how he promised to reform the government and to lower the basic cost of living, but that is not, in fact, what's being delivered in the big, beautiful bill. I'm going to criticize the big government spending, whether it comes from Joe Biden or whether it comes from Donald Trump, but this is not the way. We are almost $30 trillion in the national debt. It is going to drive up the deficit, and we are being lied to by the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who is trying to snow you and convince you otherwise.
This is the largest cut in spending in at least 30 years and arguably of all time. We're cutting over $1.5 trillion in federal spending while we check all the boxes and bring about a pro-growth economy. And the CBO has been panned because, as you said, they don't do dynamic scoring. What that means is they don't account for the growth that will be fostered by all the policies that are in this big piece of legislation. This is not theoretical, Jake. Just remember the last Trump administration. After the first 2 years, we brought about the greatest economy in the history of the world, not just the U.S. The growth was off the charts. It was an average of about 3% of growth in GDP. Why? Because we cut taxes and we cut regulations. We're doing the same thing this time around, but on steroids. This is a much larger package, a much more robust package with all these features that will really get the economy going, because taxes, wages will rise, job creators, entrepreneurs, risk takers will have more ability to expand their businesses.
I think I can smell shite. Yes, I can definitely smell shite.
The blunt reality is we cannot grow our way out of the spending that Congress has promised. It's a simple fact. So from 2005 to 2025, the last 20 years, we have added over $20 trillion to the debt. Averaged out, that means we're going to be more than $50 trillion in debt before 2050. That is frankly unsustainable, and you cannot continue to juice this economy, the greatest economy in the world, notwithstanding. In the first Trump administration, the unemployment levels are relatively low. The tax cuts, the benefit to corporations and the small businesses that they had in the first administration, those tax cuts have now been extended, but it's not going to continue to have that stimulating effect on the economy. There is a cap. What has to be done, what must be done, is reining in the spending. This is something that Elon Musk identified as an abject necessity and something that he has tried to target with DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, and now is being slapped in the face by the Trump administration that he helped elect. And even now he is admitting that this bill is far from beautiful. Big yes, beautiful no. It adds to spending.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly, which increases the budget deficit, not just decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
I actually thought that when this big, beautiful bill came along. I mean, everything he's done on DOGE gets wiped out in the first year.
I think a bill can be big or it can be beautiful, but I don't know if it can be both. My personal opinion.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
I think Elon Musk is experiencing the same feeling of betrayal that we have all felt following the Braun administration rolling up his sleeves and promising to deliver on property tax reform, only to swiftly stab the electorate in the back as soon as the rubber met the road. It's no different when it comes to Donald Trump. And sure, he talked a big game when it came to, Bidenomics and restoring the American economy and reforming the government. But when it comes to actually delivering, he's less interested in the hard work that it takes to make that promise a reality, and he is more fascinated with the optics. And he is selling this as a big, beautiful bill, and sure, it does loads to engender him to the establishment, and it makes him very popular with the big Republican donors, except for now, of course, Elon Musk, whose whole agenda he correctly identified was reining in this spending. And now the Congress is saying, well, after we pass the big, beautiful bill, maybe we'll get to the DOGE cuts, perhaps. And Elon Musk, he's had it. He's not going to continue giving his hard-earned shekels to this sham of an operation.
I think in terms of political spending, I'm going to do a lot less in the future.
And why is that?
I think I've done enough.
Is it because of blowback?
Well, if I see a reason to do political spending in the future, I will do it. I do not currently see a reason.
Freedom isn't free. No, there's a hefty wanking fee. And if you don't throw in your $1.05, who will?
He's right. There isn't reason to continue to spend your emotional capital or your hard-earned dollars supporting people that have no intention of following through on the promises they make you. And that's why I've come to a place where I think I might be done with voting for a lot of Republicans. I think I'm just going to vote straight third ticket libertarian, and I will contemplate whether or not it's worth expending my vote for a Republican. But these people are clowns, and they are betraying the electorate. We can cheer when they do right. We can jeer when they do wrong. But expecting these people to be anything less than utterly untrustworthy is ultimately a disservice to your own mental well-being. because we had such high expectations for whether it's Donald Trump or Mike Braun, and those now seem to be mellowing to various degrees. Certainly Mike Braun more than Donald Trump, because at least Trump is taking care of the border, whereas the Braun betrayal, much more sweeping than that. As far as Democrats are concerned, though, they continue to miss the mark. They don't understand what Americans really want, which is sincere reform. Of course, they have no interest in bringing that about either. And then here you have Democrat darling Pete Buttigieg that thinks he'll entice back men to vote for Democrats by promising them divorce and pornography. Okay.
Of course, we should be talking about how, if Speaker Johnson got his way, it wouldn't be possible, not just for gay people to get married, but for straight people to get divorced, let alone like birth control or how he would want to regulate porn or whatever. Most people would have a problem.
We made this one up. It's a made-up tale. It's a total fabrication. It never happened. It never happened. This one was invented by a writer. Not this time. It never happened.
I've never seen anywhere a Republican propose removing the institution of divorce, especially since so many Republicans avail themselves of that particular service. But thanks for listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast. We got a lot more on the way, including the ongoing antics of Diego Morales. Where in the world is Secretary of State Diego Morales? We'll tell you more up next.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off or schedule a pickup, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros, and a sincere thank you to our loyal customers for helping us to another record year. We recently saved a 62-year-old retiring couple over $800 monthly when compared to their COBRA offerings. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 monthly when compared to their $7,500 deductible program on the ACA, and that's still Obamacare. We recently saved a small 4-man manufacturing company over $1,000 monthly and gave them better coverage. We feature coverages guaranteed to age 65, low out-of-pocket expenses, the largest networks in the country, and you can sign up anytime. If you are retiring early, self-employed, or need coverage for your small group, call us at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. What do you got to lose? Call us, 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. As always, God bless America, common sense government, and peace through strength.
My name is Jamie Bowles, and I was diagnosed with non-small cell lung cancer in December of 2018. Nobody would even know looking at me that I have stage 4 lung cancer, and I'm grateful for biomarker testing for that. When I was sitting down with my oncologist, there was already state-of-the-art medication available that I was going to be put on right then and there. Ask your doctor how comprehensive biomarker testing before treatment may help you decide on the best treatment. Visit noonemissed.org to learn more.
A public service message from Longevity Foundation.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with a free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
If this is the year to build your custom dream home, Joyner Homes is ready to help make your dream come true. They offer the flexibility to build on your own lot, allowing you to build a home in the place you've always envisioned. A dedicated in-house team of experts will guide you through every step, offering unmatched personalization and flexibility. Joyner Homes provides clear and upfront pricing and floor plans to inspire you. There's no time like the present to get in touch with Joyner Homes to talk about your vision and learn more about their building process. Visit JoynerHomes.com.
From military life to a rewarding career in IT, kickstart your new journey in a matter of months in the fields of IT and cybersecurity, including AI. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including VA benefits.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
There are screening tests to catch cancer early. Visit cancer.org/getscreened.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard Air dealer.
It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ethan Hatcher filling in for Tony Kinnett. I am the host of Saturday Night on The Circle, and my show is heard 7 to 9 every Saturday night here on WIBC. You can also find the podcast on WIBC.com, as well as my personal podcasting page, Saturday Night on The Circle.fireside.fm. Tonight I'm with the lovely producer, Allison, beep, 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 on the board, pushing the buttons and doing the things to make the show function. This segment, I wanted to start with the cataclysmic failure of service that was the St. Louis Emergency Services, because, of course, they failed to deploy the tornadic sirens when a huge, more than, I think it was, mile-wide tornado blew through the town and killed more than 5 people, which is a huge tragedy and just incredible devastation through the neighborhoods there. Brick buildings completely overturned. It was a heck of a storm. And then now we're finding out that part of the reason for this is because the head of the emergency services there, Sarah Russell, a DEI appointment, well, she took herself and the whole department out on a workshop, producer Allison, instead of being at the ready when they had this forecasted storm coming to town, or even just leaving one person behind to push the big red button. Well, come to find out, they were at a workshop instead. Probably, although this isn't confirmed, learning more about inclusion and equity, you know, the important stuff.
Let me be clear. SEMA exists to alert the community when severe weather is coming. This office failed to do that in the most horrific and deadly storm that our city has experienced in my lifetime.
St. Louis Mayor Kara Spencer says that word of possible tornadoes came Friday afternoon. But the city's emergency officials didn't push the button to sound the outdoor warning sirens because they were out of the office at a workshop.
There was human error. There was a failure to do testing. There was a host of things that went wrong here that resulted in the failure to get the emergency management system, the siren system, working that day.
What would you say you do here?
So, yeah, that's Mayor Kara Spencer swiftly throwing Sarah Russell under the bus, although I would question who appointed her to the position to begin with. There may be a little of political backstabbing going on there in the background, but now we see the true human cost of diversity, equity, and inclusion prioritized over merit, which leads to disaster. And then here is Sarah Russell attempting to make excuses. Well, we're just a small department. Doesn't matter. Hire more people or ensure that you, if no one else, since it's your department, are there to press the big red button. This did not come out of the wide blue yonder. It was forecasted. The weather services were working. Why weren't you?
The SEMA office is very small, and the majority of the time we work closer to business hours unless the need arises, such as what we're doing now, or special events. A lot of that work takes us out into the community, so we aren't necessarily in our office space at all times. We do have a very small staff. I have received reports of people that did hear it. I've heard from a lot of people that said they haven't heard it.
It can't be bargained with. It can't be reasoned with. It doesn't feel pity.
or remorse or fear, and it absolutely will not stop, ever, until you are dead.
So that's why she's now been put on leave for this abject failure, and even then refusing to admit any level of accountability. Oh, well, it's just because we're a very small department, and sometimes our work takes us out of the field or to special events, which is what they were doing. They were at this workshop instead of their more important job that possibly resulted in the loss of life. Speaking of people not doing their job, where in the world is Secretary of State Diego Morales? This guy, he is a globetrotter for somebody who should be spending the majority of his time as an elected official in, I don't know, the state of Indiana, right here in the Midwest. Instead, he's cavorting about in places like India, where apparently they're selling some visa access to businesses in the country. You know, nothing to be curious or concerned about there. And then now he is in Hungary, and it's interesting how Hungarian media is describing Diego, at least when these articles are translated into English, which begs the question, is this a failure of Hungarian English, language barrier, a breakdown in the translation, or is Diego misrepresenting the scope of what his office is actually responsible for? This is the Hungarian-American agricultural diplomatic relations, which they say are in their golden age, in part thanks to Diego Morales, Indiana's, who they say is the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs. Well, that's a curious thing because, of course, he's not the Secretary of State for Foreign Affairs. If anybody has anything to do with foreign affairs, that would be the governor. And if anybody else has anything to do with agriculture, that would be the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Indiana, Micah Beckwith. One of the few actual responsibilities that is under his direct purview, not arguing and debating about DEI. That's my job. Micah can come on radio if he wants to do that. Instead, he should be overseeing agriculture. If anything's going on with Hungarian, Indiana agricultural relations, that would be his or the governor's job, not Diego Morales. And nobody in the state of Indiana, be it in the General Assembly or the governor's office, wants to ask the real question: who is paying for these trips, and why is Diego asserting this authority on himself when this exceeds what has been granted to him in the Indiana state constitution? But that is the state of affairs that we find ourselves with Indiana state Republican government that scarcely resembles what I remember, circa 2005, 2006, when Mitch Daniels was at the helm and everything was functioning as it should be for the most part. Now, because of the complacency, because of the gerrymandering, because of the team sport that politics has become, the Republicans in the state of Indiana are in a sorry state of affairs. The outright blatant corruption is shocking. And of course, you won't find any respite from the Democrats either, who continue to fundraise basically off of the Thomas Carl Cook, sexual harassment alleged scandal that unfolded in the city county building under the purview, allegedly, of Mayor Joe Hogsett. And now, in addition to the $300,000, hundreds of thousands of dollars that are being spent on the actual law firm investigating this, they have now employed the services of an additional firm to communicate with the city council's investigative committee. This is, let's see, the Faegre Drinker. Wow, this is a hell of a name for a law firm. The Faegre Drinker Biddle and Reef law firm, a $40,000 legal contract to then communicate with this other law firm that they are paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to. And get this, those lawyers gave more than $18,000 to Joe Hogsett's reelection. So this is a circular distribution of cash. It's so incestuous and blatantly corrupt, it's nauseating. But whether it's the Republicans or whether it's the Democrats, the corruption is given a pass because it's mutually beneficial to the duopoly, which is why I think I'm done voting for Republicans. I mean, unless they give me a good reason, like somebody like a Craig Haggard or Andrew Ireland out there, until I'm inevitably disappointed there too. But in the meanwhile, unless there's somebody out there like that, I just don't think it's worth wasting your vote. You can cheer when they do well, jeer when they do poorly, and don't emotionally invest yourself otherwise. You'll do yourself a world of favor. Thanks for listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast. Ethan Hatcher filling in. More on the way coming up next. Don't miss it.
It's May in Indiana, and I'm betting the floors in your home would appreciate a good cleaning. Hi, this is Denny Smith, and there is no better go-to resource for cleaning those floors than Zero-Res. They can handle virtually every surface in your home. Carpets, tile and grout, hardwood, laminate, stone, upholstery, rugs, even your air ducts. Before we get any closer to summer, you can get 3 rooms Zero-Resified for just $129, and you can take $75 off air duct cleaning too. Zero-Res means zero residue, and it's the water they use. They don't need soap or solvents to really clean your surfaces. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, just healthy, fresh surfaces. Zero-Res cleans our floors, and I'll tell you that it is simply amazing, and it works. Don't take my word for it. Just check out 4,900 plus 5-star Google reviews. Call now, mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaning starting at just $129 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141, online at zeroresindy.com.
Citizens, since we each upgraded to Xfinity in our homes, the Wi-Fi has been booming. It's fair to say our town has officially become a boomtown.
Mayor, will I be able to drop into multiplayer gaming battles with low lag?
The lag won't be an issue, but your questionable skills may be.
And what if I have hundreds of devices on the Wi-Fi? Purely hypothetical.
Seems like a lot, but sure, hundreds of devices all booming together with the Xfinity Gateway. Yes, friends and neighbors, with Xfinity, the Wi-Fi is booming.
The Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that's booming. Now get the most reliable Wi-Fi and our best-in-class equipment for one consistent price for 5 years guaranteed. All in. Plus, get unlimited data included and no annual contract. All with the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Visit Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas. New residential customers only. Select plans only. Xfinity Gateway with X5 Complete required for unlimited data except in certain areas. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024. Actual speeds vary.
If you need to hire, it seems like the whole process can be exhausting. You search resumes, wait for the right candidates to apply, set up initial interviews. It's a lot of time and work. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates for your job the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro is super easy to use. You simply pick a time, and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you can choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day. Best of all, you save time and energy.
Try Zip Intro for free right now at this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today, talk to qualified candidates tomorrow. Once again, go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Mark Dietl, the only local real estate agent I would trust to sell my home, the only local real estate agent I'd trust to find me a new one. How about John in Greencastle? He bought a home in Greencastle, right? But shortly after, his son moved to Fishers, which left him an hour away from family and 45 minutes from work. So John thought he made a big mistake and felt stuck since he'd only been in his home less than a year. Not a problem for the Mark Dietl team. They delivered big. John's home sold in 14 days to the price he needed so he could move closer to family and work.
Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Pick your move date, no long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. Mark Dietl makes this easy. All you have to do is reach out to him. Call him right now, 317-755-4232, or go to markdietl.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietl.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
This is the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIBC.
Welcome back to the Tony Kinnett Cast. I'm Ethan Hatcher filling in. And don't forget, we're also streaming live on the YouTube machine. You can look up WIBC, the channel, and we are streaming live right now. We got our friends Indy Spanglish and Libertarian Dragon and Kathleen in the chat. You can join us as well. Just log on and hop in and join the fun. This segment, I wanted to talk about a killjoy judge out of Fredericksburg, Texas. I thought that the Lone Star State was the land of liberty. County, but I guess not, where this judge has now ordered a beloved library cat named Pepper to hit the road. This is highly objectionable in my opinion. The Gillespie County Commissioners notified the judge that the cat was located in the Pioneer Memorial Library, and they held a closed-door meeting on April 15th, ultimately determining that the cat was not allowed to stay. And here was what Daniel Jones, the Gillespie County judge, had to say about it. And he sounds like a British magistrate to me, so that's how we're going to read it.
To be clear, neither myself nor the Gillespie County Commissioner's Court was consulted about housing any animal within the county-operated Pioneer Memorial Library. Yes, I would expect all Gillespie County department heads to consult and seek consent from the Commissioner's Court prior to bringing any animal into county building for any county use or purpose, which did not occur in this instance. Regrettably, the presence of the cat in the county library has now become a divisive issue, pitting members of our community against one another.
Oh, brother.
The situation is also now taking away focus and resources from the other important work of conducting the business of the people of Gillespie County. No cat has been or will be authorized to be housed in the county library. For further comments on the library cat, I suggest you contact the library directly.
My goodness, what a killjoy. And they're talking about taking away resources. Producer Allison, have you ever had a cat or a dog? Any kind of pet? A hamster?
Oh, yes. I've had many of animals.
Okay. Now, is it a high cost from week to week just to feed a cat or buy it litter, in your opinion? Like,
especially a cat? No.
Yeah.
That is pretty low maintenance as it gets.
We're talking like maybe $20 a week if we're being generous there, between food, water, and litter. And I'm sure if you put out a collection plate in the library, people are going to pay for a library cat. They bring them all the treats, all the love, all the toys a kitty cat could ever want. Yeah. Now, fortunately, Pepper isn't left out in the wind. They took him down to the Humane Society to find a forever home. But you'd think out of Fredericksburg, out of Texas, they would love the liberty and the affection that a cat can impart in a public library. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for two things. One, let's just say the libraries don't get the business they used to.
Uh-huh.
So having a furry-friendly cat as an incentive for people to come in is not a bad idea. I'm just saying.
It works out for bodegas. It works out for cat cafes. It works out for hardware stores.
Exactly.
If you go down to the Twin Air Ace hardware store on the east side of Indianapolis, Miss Kitty is the mascot.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And then two, so you take a loving animal who has a community that loves it, and then you dump it on a Humane Society that probably is already overrun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But I'm sure because of the celebrity, Pepper is now going to find a forever home for sure. But he's also got more than 8,000 signatures on change.org to just let the damn cat back in.
That's the best part of the internet right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, speaking of kitty cats, though, I also got to share some sad news. 18-year-old Amur tiger by the name of Pavel has passed away at the Indianapolis Zoo.
And tonight, the Indianapolis Zoo is mourning the loss of one of its tigers. The zoo shared the news of Pavel's passing online. He was an 18-year-old Amur tiger, and he died of kidney failure, which the Post states is common for older tigers. Pavel first came to Indy in 2021. His keepers described him as a, quote, gentle giant who was a training rock star.
Goodbye, old friend. May the force be with you.
Unfortunately, he started to suffer from liver and kidney failure, which is something that happens to older cats in captivity, and they elected to put him down, which I'm sure was the right decision. I'm not criticizing the decision of the vets there, but it's so sad when there are less than 500 Amur tigers. Now, here's the fact, Producer Allison. They used to be known as the Siberian tiger. Now, why the hell can't you call an Amur tiger a Siberian tiger? What's offensive about Siberian?
I had no idea they interchanged that.
Yeah,
is that a new thing?
That's a new thing.
Oh,
they are no longer the Siberian tiger. They're now the Amur tiger. But yeah, less than 500 in the wild. And of course, there are more tigers in captivity, more than 10,000 compared to the less than 4,000, I believe it is, tigers in the wild globally. And most of those are in India. Beautiful animals, though. Have you ever gotten to see a tiger up close, producer Allison?
Oh, yes. I love them. I think they're beautiful.
Yeah, and you can check them out at the Indianapolis Zoo. I expected the Indianapolis Zoo to rank a little better overall, frankly, as far as zoos in the United States. I decided to Google where we were, relative to other zoos in the country. Now, I know we're not as good as the Cincinnati Zoo or the San Diego Zoo for sure. There's more money and space that are allocated to those there. But where would you place us, producer Allison, out of the top 27?
Easily top 10.
Top 10? We didn't make the top 10. We didn't make the top 20. According to U.S. News, we were ranked number 23 out of 27.
I think this needs updated immediately.
Well, we got more than 230 species that are at the Indianapolis Zoo, which I think is a pretty effective use of the real estate that they have available to them.
And they're still expanding with their gorilla exhibit, and then they have the whole elephant thing that they're adding too. On top of their conservation ship, that should be more highlighted.
And the work that they've done with orangutans has also garnered attention from around the country, especially, I guess, they're doing some orangutan linguistics, discovering more about how they communicate with themselves and with other species, including humans as well. So that's cool stuff that's going on at the Indianapolis Zoo. Check them out sometimes. Great zoo. Definitely. Maybe not top 10, but I will say top 20 any day in the U.S. I mean, for sure. For sure. What else we got going on? Oh, here is a free speech victory coming out of Conway, New Hampshire. They had another killjoy judge out there, or killjoy bureaucrat, I should say. But a judge ruled in favor of a bakery and their beloved mural outside of their building that was painted by high schoolers. Producer Allison, the shamelessness and the heartlessness of the bureaucracy knows no bounds. They tried to tear it down, but this was a victory for Conway, New Hampshire.
Update on Conway, New Hampshire's trial of the century.
Or the trial of February 14th, anyway.
At issue, this mural over Levitt's Country Bakery, a local landmark. It was painted by high school students.
But an inspector said it violates the town code because the mural is actually a sign. And as a sign, it is 4 times larger than the code allows.
What makes it a sign, Conway contended, is that it depicts donuts and other confections that are for sale inside the bakery.
The bakery sued, claiming its free speech rights had been violated. And this week, in a 23-page ruling, federal judge Joseph LaPlante ruled that the town had indeed infringed on the bakery's constitutional rights.
23 pages, that's a lot of pages. The owner of the bakery asked for damages in the amount of $1.
Clearly, it was never about the dough.
At least this one time.
Don't forget what happened to the man who suddenly got everything he always wanted.
What happened?
He lived happily ever after.
Just like prohibiting a library cat, I cannot think of anything more cannot conceive of any more time-wasting activity on behalf of a bureaucrat than to scrutinize the mural on a bakery. Oh, well, because it portrays objects that can be sold in the building. It constitutes a sign. Who cares? That's a bunch of bullcrap, producer Allison. I'm glad that the baker won his case there. Oh, I mean, only $1, damages there, but the emotional victory of getting to do what you want with your own damn property, which is first and foremost here in the fine land of the free and the home of the brave in the United States. But then also this victory over petty bureaucrats trying to take you down. I'm so gratified that he was able to win that in Conway, New Hampshire. Good on the Levitt's Bakery. It's just the things that people will spend their energy on to try to thwart. Something that is so harmless, innocuous, and then also community-oriented as a high school mural on a community baker is just beyond the pale. But fortunately, that was a victory in the community there. And we should always defend our liberties at any cost. Thanks for listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast. We got one more segment to go, including some surprising news about how much chicken you may have to eat to increase your risk of dying by 27%. And it's going to be less than you think. We'll give you details coming up next. Stay tuned.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Your nose is for breathing. Your mouth is for eating.
And if you're breathing through your mouth, it's not because your body wants to. It's because it has to, because your nose isn't working properly. And although you've lived like this, it's no way to live, and it's having a significant impact on your life. I know you know this, and I know that taking action isn't always convenient. But at Advent, we've done all we can to make changing your life for the better as easy as possible. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. With tens of thousands of our patients, a thorough nose and throat evaluation, along with a simple 20-minute in-office procedure called balloon sinuplasty, has opened their nasal passages, allowing them to breathe freely through their nose for good. And there's a good chance this procedure can do the same for you. We'll help you breathe through your nose again, and it will change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Most insurance accepted.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Hey, it's Big Joe for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, Price Point Comfort Heating and Cooling. Owner James Swindle says competitors focused on revenue typically fail.
I've been doing this 31 years in Indianapolis, and I've worked for other companies, and one day we're, how many customers did we take care of? And then the new owners come in, and it's how much revenue did we produce today? As soon as the talking point changes, the customers see the difference, they feel the difference, and they know the difference. We're not that. Our focus is always take care of the customer.
See the difference by going to PricePointComfort.com. Price Point Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Road trip! This summer at Tire Discounters, your tires are your passport to savings, because you're driving to Paris,
Texas,
then it's off to Rome,
Georgia,
and you'll be kissing the Blarney Stone in Dublin,
Ohio.
Right now, save up to $514 when you buy 4 tires, and that includes a free alignment and oil change. Stop at Tire Discounters before you see the world.
At Price Point Comfort, we promise you'll never be sold something you don't need. Call us at 317-455-1124 or see us at PricePointComfort.com.
Price Point Comfort is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air dealer.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
It's the Tony Kinnett Cast on 93 WIPC.
Closing time. Yeah. That's what I thought that was, the opening riff to Closing Time. Perfect song selection, producer Allison. Thanks for listening to the Tony Kinnett Cast. I'm Ethan Hatcher filling in. It's been a blast. The show's really flown by. Always love when Tony invites me to come in and fill on the show. Of course, Tony is away. He had to do some sort of emergency meeting out in Washington, D.C. He's big and important these days, so they flew him out for the Daily Signal, probably doing some award-winning journalism out there, but we'll return to you tomorrow evening. But in the meantime, you got me. And I'll tell you how much poultry you got to eat each week in order to have a 27% chance of a higher risk of dying. And this is according to Italian researchers. Only 300 grams of chicken, which really doesn't go far. When you're consuming it in a week. And they say that in particular, this is carcinogenic and has a increase of linking you to diabetes, heart disease, and several cancers, including cancers of the mouth. But women are more at risk than men, which I find very interesting. My takeaway, producer Allison, is that it's not the chicken itself, because chicken is a very healthy, very low-fat meat. My opinion is what is left out of this study is that it's probably because people are consuming chicken in the form of chicken nuggets. That's how people are consuming the chicken.
And deep fried and everything in between, yeah.
Right. So it doesn't have to do with the meat. It has to do with the preparation and the presentation. Because if you're deep frying it and you're breading it, any meat is unhealthy.
Now I just want chicken.
Yeah. I could go for a corn dog. Actually, speaking of chicken, I'll tell you what really sounds good after this, and I might go pick up, is some chicken nuggets and a McChicken from McDonald's.
Oh,
it's like one of the only good things that they have at McDonald's these days. Everything else is so diluted and bastardized, I can barely stand it.
Hey, their fries still hold a chance, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're okay, but I'd rather an Arby's fry or, even a Checkers or Rally's fry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're more flavorful. They got more savory. They got more seasonings on it. The McDonald's fry. I get why it's the standard bearer because it's so plain.
Yeah.
It's just so ordinary. It is so inoffensive.
Traditional.
It is the traditional standard bearer fry, but I think better fries can be found generally almost anywhere else.
Okay.
But a McChicken and a
Strong words.
McNugget sounds good, which is why you have a 27% higher chance of dying if that's how you're consuming your chicken. Here we are talking about chicken, and then what are we hungry for? Going out for McDonald's or going out for fried food. A Libertarian Dragon in the chat said Kentucky Fatal Chicken.
But it's still so good with a biscuit.
Yeah, that's true. A little bit of that terrible brown gravy on it. Again, going to why if you're eating 300 grams or more of the chicken, you have an increased risk of dying. It doesn't have to do with the meat. It's got to do with all the dressing and the things that are associated with the chicken. I'm going to bet. I'm just going out on a limb here. This was another interesting takeaway from Fox News digital chef Andrew Zimmerman, who's based in Minnesota, and he had a take that I object to. He says that gas station food is extraordinary and hiding in plain sight. Producer Allison, do you have an opinion on gas station food?
Honestly, they have some good ones. They have some good ones.
Oh.
I like their taquitos. Gecko has a good breakfast sandwich. It just depends. It depends.
Right. It depends on the circumstance. And what he was talking about is cavorting around the nation in his professional career and then also selling his books and other things that, he doesn't always have time to, even though he has these professional skills, he doesn't always have time to utilize them on himself. So especially when he's on the road, going to get a gas station pizza sometimes hits the spot. And then also, they're fairly inexpensive. Like he was giving Casey's pizza praise in particular, because even though they're really simple, they're made with wholesome ingredients that if he was making a pizza, he would use himself, except, hey, it's just at the gas station down my road and it makes the kids at the house happy. Yeah. So gas station food has its place. I'm not objecting to that, but is it, really compelling, top of the line cuisine? Are we being honest with ourselves? Come on. No. Absolutely not.
I would be curious to know what kind of chef, where did he practice or learn his skills?
Yeah, that's a good question.
He's a culinary artist from McDonald's.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Culinary artist for McDonald's. I like it. But yeah, I mean, what's the sad? You think about it for a second. I'll tell you mine first. But what's the saddest gas station meal that you've ever had? I'll tell you mine. And this was back in the days, back in my day, when I was a security guard. I was working for Allied Barton before they merged to become the largest security firm in the United States, Allied Universal. And I was working in the rural part of Indiana. I think it was near Odin, Indiana, if you've ever heard of that. I mean, we're talking about legitimately the middle of nowhere at the time. And they had a John Deere dealership that I was scheduled to be at for the next 16 hours. And in the middle of that, I got hungry, which you were allowed to leave for a lunch break, only to discover that any restaurant, any McDonald's, almost any gas station was about like an hour away because you're traveling on those country roads. Now, there was a small convenience store that I had to go like more than 20 minutes down the road. The selection was limited, Producer Allison, let me tell you. And what I came away with was a bag of Fritos chips and a can of Spam, and I got the Fritos chips because they did not have any silverware to scoop the Spam out. So I was using the chips as a little spoon to get the Spam, and then they didn't have any refrigerators, so that came with a room temperature Mountain Dew. I took this back to the site, and then I made a little makeshift campfire over which I roasted the Spam and then scooped the heated Spam out with the Fritos chips and then washed it down with a room temperature Mountain Dew. Let me tell you, Producer Allison, the situation was dire. It was sad. by far still the most memorable and miserable gas station meal I've ever had. How about yourself?
That story just got sadder and sadder. It's the definition of a boy dinner.
I needed the violin in the background.
Oh. I'm trying to think. I think the most disappointing was a gas station. It was one of the Meijer or Kroger ones, gas stations, and they had Krispy Kremes, and usually Krispy Kreme hits the spot when you want early in the morning.
Not when they're days old.
That was the problem. Yeah. I trusted the buy one get one free option, and basically cracked my tooth after the first one. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, I would not suggest maybe donuts, but I'm telling you though, they have some good stuff.
Sure.
Pizza, brisket sandwiches, Buc-ee's set the whole new level with the gas station food.
Okay, sure. They're the gold standard when it comes to gas station food. If you're going to go anywhere, you got to go to a Buc-ee's. Well, I guess we'll leave it there. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, before I close out the show this evening, though, I also wanted to talk about one of our former, I guess I don't see him around much these days, but one of our coworkers here at WIBC, Jason Dozier, is also an author. Did you know that, Producer Allison?
I did not. What kind of book is that?
He just dropped off these books this afternoon, and this is the third in a series, the Manny Barlow detective thriller, and I surmise, if you want to look on the camera on the YouTube stream here, that this must be set in Indianapolis because you got Monument Circle right there on the cover.
That's
isn't
really
that cool?
Can you get them on Amazon or wherever?
I am assuming you can get this on Amazon. I mean, it is in hardcover book format, so it is not just a digital copy for your Kindle. You can actually, flip the pages and then read this for yourself. Yeah, Jason Dozier, published author, The Bone Harvester, the third book in his Manny Barlow detective series. I'm going to have him on Saturday Night on the Circle and talk about that.
Absolutely.
It's so cool. Unfortunately, that's all the time I got, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a blast filling in on the Tony Kinnett cast. Thanks for having me, and Tony will be back tomorrow. See you, folks.
You know exactly why you need to remodel that kitchen of yours. The space, it's outdated. You can't move around like you used to. It doesn't work like it needs to. You want to entertain and you want to improve your quality of life. This can happen, just not with the kitchen you have. You need to call Booher Remodeling, B-O-O-H-E-R, BooherRemodeling.com. They can take that old kitchen that's deteriorating and broken down and turn it into something that works for you and your family. Their 5-step design process from start to finish, the consultation, the preliminary design, the design development, getting all the documents together, and then getting it done. The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. Booher Remodeling will guide you through the entire process, starting with the free initial consultation, and they stand behind their work with a 2-year workmanship guarantee. Create that new kitchen. Design experts can use an existing layout or begin completely from scratch. Talk to Booher Remodeling today. B-O-O-H-E-R. BooherRemodeling.com. That's BooherRemodeling.com.
You've heard about Terry Bush at R&R Agency for a long time, how easy he is to work with, and how he'll find you the best health insurance coverage at the best rate. Now hear from one of his clients.
Hi, Terry. Just wanted to touch base with you and let you know I got your email yesterday, and just wanted to say thank you for all of your help. This has been one of the easiest things that I've done in transitioning to my new job. So of all the things that have been going on lately, you've made this quite easy. So I do appreciate all your help, and thank you again. Have a good day. Thanks.
Terry has been helping people for over 35 years. If you're retiring early, self-employed, or need small group insurance, call 317-563-0868. That's 317-563-0868, or go to rragency.org. rragency.org. As always, God bless America, peace through strength, and common sense government.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary. Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News. 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
This is a Fox News alert stopping the tariffs. I'm Lisa Lacera. A federal trade court has blocked President Trump from